August 21st, 1996, Moline, Illinois. A warm, quiet morning in a neighborhood where nothing ever seemed to go wrong. But by nightfall, one family would be shattered, and a mystery would begin that to this day remains unsolved. This is the story of Trudy Appleby. Trudy Appleby was 11 years old, curious, bright, always smiling, a kid who loved animals, played outside, and trusted the world around her. On the morning she vanished, she was at home on 500 Homestead Avenue in Moline, Illinois. Her father, Dennis, left for work as usual, leaving Trudy in the care of a trusted family friend. Dennis was a single father. He and Trudy were close. He called her his little buddy. She was independent for her age, comfortable staying home while he worked nearby. That morning, Trudy talked about maybe going swimming. It was summer break, and she had no reason to rush. No school, no chores, just a long day ahead. Neighbors would later say she seemed excited, as if she had plans. But nothing was written down. No phone calls were remembered. No destination was confirmed. The neighborhood itself was like many small-town blocks in the Midwest. Quiet, tight-knit, unassuming. People knew each other. Kids roamed freely. There was trust in the air. But that trust would soon be shattered. Sometime between 9 and 10 a.m., a neighbor across the street spotted Trudy walking toward a silver or gray sedan. It was described as boxy, older, something from the late 70s or 80s. The driver was a white male, early to mid-20s, curly brown hair. He didn't live there. No one recognized him. He wasn't a familiar face in a place where unfamiliar stood out. Trudy climbed into the car willingly. At least that's what the witness said. There were no signs of force, no raised voices, no panicked footsteps, just a moment that looked innocent, until it wasn't. And then, silence. No one saw the car leave, no one noticed the direction it took, no one knew she was missing until hours later. As the day wore on, her father returned home, expecting Trudy to be inside, but the house was empty. Her towel and swimsuit were gone, but her clothes, shoes, and personal items remained. Dennis started calling friends, neighbors, the pool. Nothing. Nobody had seen her. By evening, worry turned to dread. Police were called. A missing person report was filed. And what had begun as an ordinary summer day had turned into a nightmare. The hours that followed were frantic. Friends and family spread out searching. Officers knocked on doors. The story began hitting local news that night. A young girl, possibly abducted, no witnesses, no suspects. What's deeply unsettling is that Trudy didn't just disappear from the world. She disappeared in broad daylight, in a residential area, in a place where doors were left unlocked and kids played until the streetlights came on. It wasn't just a disappearance, it was a breach of innocence, of safety, of trust, and it changed Moline forever. The investigation into Trudy Appleby's disappearance began with urgency and community support. Police canvassed the area, dogs were brought in, the riverbanks were searched, helicopters flew overhead. Everyone hoped for a quick answer, but answers never came. Hundreds of tips poured in over the first few weeks. Some claimed to have seen a car like the one described. Others reported hearing rumors at local bars or seeing a man matching the composite sketch. Detectives followed every lead. Every one of them ended in a dead end. The family was desperate. So was the community. Yellow ribbons and missing posters lined storefronts and utility poles. Local TV ran nightly updates. But as weeks turned to months, the story started to fade from the headlines. Then came years of silence. No solid evidence, no confirmed sightings, no arrests. In 2017, 21 years after she vanished, a new tip surfaced. Authorities turned their attention to a property on Campbell's Island, just a few miles from where Trudy lived. The tip suggested that Trudy may have been buried there. Crews arrived with heavy equipment. They dug, searched, scanned the ground with sonar, but once again, nothing. 2 years later, in 2019, another tip led investigators to a boat. It belonged to someone known in the area. Forensic teams swept through it, hoping for biological evidence. Hairs, fibers, anything that could link the boat to Trudy. Again, no results. Then in 2020, two names surfaced, David Whipple and Jamison Fisher. Both were known to authorities. Both had ties to the area. Police believed they had knowledge about what happened that August morning. But Whipple would die in 2022, taking any secrets with him. To this day, No charges have been filed. No definitive proof has been presented. Yet investigators are convinced that the people involved are still out there and that the case can still be solved. What started as a wide-open search has narrowed to a few names, a few locations, and a trail that refuses to disappear. Did Trudy leave willingly? Was she lured by someone she trusted? Or was this a random act, an opportunist who saw an opening and took it? One theory is that the man in the car wasn't a stranger at all. He may have been loosely connected to someone Trudy knew, perhaps a friend of a friend. Maybe she recognized him from a previous encounter. That would explain why she got in without hesitation. Another possibility is that Trudy was targeted, that someone had been watching her, learning her habits, waiting for a moment when she was alone and vulnerable. The timing mid-morning during summer break was deliberate, a time when adults were at work and children moved freely. There are darker rumors, too, that Trudy may have stumbled into something she shouldn't have, that someone close to the area, maybe even part of the local community, was involved. Whispers of secrets, of parties on the river, of people who knew and said nothing. Then there's the question of silence. In a neighborhood where people notice everything, why didn't anyone else see that car? Why didn't anyone remember more details? Was there fear involved, loyalty, or just uncertainty? And why, after all these years, have so few people come forward? Is it because they've forgotten, or because they remember too much? The mystery of Trudy Appleby isn't just about what happened that day. It's about everything that hasn't happened since. The missed chances, the unspoken truths, the people who may know something and still haven't said a word. Every year, Trudy's family and friends gather. They light candles, they remember, and they ask the same question: where is Trudy? For her father, Dennis, every passing year is a reminder of a life paused. Her bedroom, her belongings, many of them remain untouched, preserved in hope. To him, Trudy is still out there, somewhere. He holds on to that belief because the alternative is unbearable. Over the years, age-progressed images have been released to show what Trudy might look like today. A young girl transformed into a woman. The photos are haunting, not because of what they show, but because of what they represent. Time, loss, possibility. Detective Michael Griffin of the Moline Police has carried this case for years. He's read every report, studied every tip, interviewed the same people again and again. Still, he remains firm in his belief that this case can and will be solved. "We are not giving up," he said in multiple interviews. "We've narrowed it down. The truth is within reach." In recent years, the department has re-examined evidence with newer forensic tools. They've re-interviewed witnesses, looked at old names with fresh eyes. They believe there are people still alive who know what happened, people who have remained silent for nearly 3 decades. But silence doesn't last forever. Each year that passes is a plea, a call to conscience, to memory, to anyone who might have seen something, heard something, suspected something, because even the smallest piece of information could be the key that finally unlocks this case. Trudy Appleby should be 40 years old today. She should have stories to tell, a life of her own, memories made. Instead, she is a question, a silence, a shadow that hangs over a town that still remembers her. And somewhere out there, someone knows why. Somewhere, someone knows what happened to Trudy Appleby. Maybe it was a secret whispered once and never again. Maybe it was something seen, but never reported. What we do know is that she didn't just vanish. Somebody took her, and that person has walked free for nearly 3 decades. This case is not cold, it is waiting. If you're intrigued by unsolved mysteries and chilling cases, check out my playlist, True Crime Murders and Disappearances, for more unsolved cases.